you believe that children are being abused by pedophiles in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
So why are you sitting down talking to me? Why aren't you sitting down with the police right now?
I've told the police. In fact, if anybody wants to go back to 1993 when I was interviewed by the Santa Barbara Police Department, I sat there and I gave them the names. They're on record. They have all of this information, but they were scanning Michael Jackson. All they cared about was trying to find something on Michael Jackson.
You said
For years, there has been a long-standing conspiracy theory that Hollywood and the elites harvest the blood of young people and transfuse it in order to reverse age. And now the Epstein files might have revealed that that is in fact true.
No, they eat babies. That is not bull. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy.
I now hold the opinion that Kim Kardashian is a prostitute, and I'm not going to edit this opinion.
You ever get that feeling that the room goes quiet before the storm hits? That is exactly what fans say happened the second this headline started spreading. 50 Cent reacts as an Epstein filing mentions the Kardashians. And before anyone even had time to blink, the internet was already tearing itself in half. Some people are calling it the wildest coincidence of the year. Others are swearing it is the first crack in a wall that has been guarded for decades. Either way, one thing is certain. Emotions ran high the moment the words Epstein and Kardashian landed in the same sentence. Because here's the part that has everyone glued to their screens. It's not a confirmed conviction. It's not a courtroom verdict. It's a filing, a claim, a document that allegedly includes names people never expected to see connected to that world at all. And the second that rumor hit, fans were shocked to see 50 Cent doing what 50 Cent does best, reacting with that cold, blunt energy that makes everyone feel like he knows something they do not. Some swear his reaction sounded like a warning. Others think it was a baited laugh hiding something darker. And then came the real twist. Sources claim the Kardashian camp went unusually quiet, like the kind of silence that makes people listen even harder. So now the question is not just what is in that filing. The question is why this moment feels like the beginning of a bigger fallout. And trust me, once you hear what people say happened behind closed doors after 50's reaction, you'll understand why the family was left divided. The moment 50 Cent's name started trending alongside the words Epstein filing and Kardashians, it felt like the internet had been handed a match and a gallon of gasoline. Nobody knew exactly what was in the document yet. Nobody had confirmed anything beyond the fact that a filing existed and that certain names were being discussed online, but that did not stop the speculation from spreading like wildfire. Fans were shocked, timelines were flooded, and within minutes, reaction channels were dissecting every syllable of 50's response as if it were a coded message. It all started with a clip, not a long speech, not a press conference, just a short reaction where 50 Cent leaned back, half smiling, half serious, and said in his usual calm but cutting tone, "Y'all better start reading what's coming out." That was it. No direct accusation, no detailed breakdown, just a sentence that sounded more like a warning than a joke, and that's when emotions ran high. In group chats across social media, people started asking the same question. What did he mean by that? Was he implying something deeper? Was he reacting purely to headlines? Or was this another chapter in his long history of calling out industry figures when controversy begins to swirl? Fans know 50 Cent rarely steps into drama quietly. When he reacts, he does it with intention. Meanwhile, inside the Kardashian circle, the energy reportedly shifted fast. According to sources close to the family, there was no panic at first. The initial reaction was dismissal. This is another internet cycle when Insider allegedly said, "We have been through worse." But that confidence reportedly faded once the filing began circulating.
Rico though, on KK and Chris. Ooh, the federal Rico I'm about to drop. Anybody know Kim and cool with Kim? They need to tell her now.
More widely, and online commentators started pulling old clips, old photos, and old interviews into the conversation. Kim, who has spent years carefully crafting a public image built on business success and legal advocacy, was said to be blindsided by the speed of the narrative, not because of confirmed allegations, but because of the way the internet works. Once your name is placed next to a controversial headline, the nuance disappears, context fades, all that remains is association. "Why is our name even being mentioned?" one family member allegedly asked during a private call. Another voice in the room responded sharply, "It doesn't matter why, it matters how we respond." And that's where the tension began. Fans were already dissecting every move. Within hours of 50's reaction, viewers noticed that several older social media posts involving industry parties and high-profile gatherings had quietly disappeared from public pages. Nothing illegal, nothing directly connected to any crime, but the timing was enough to spark theories, and once theories start forming, they rarely stay contained.
On fan forums, debates turned heated. One side argued that this was pure coincidence and internet overreaction. There's no proof, many repeated. It's just a filing, not a conviction. Others insisted the silence from the Kardashian camp was suspicious. Why not just deny it immediately, they asked. Why let it breathe? While the internet argued, 50 Cent added fuel in his own subtle way. Instead of clarifying his comment, he posted a cryptic caption. Some storms don't make noise until they're right above you. Again, no direct claim, no specific accusation.
But enough to make fans feel like he knew more than he was saying. In reality, 50 Cent has built a brand around reacting to chaos. He thrives in controversy. He understands timing. And whether he was simply commenting on headlines or strategically amplifying conversation, the result was the same. The story exploded. Inside the family, conversations reportedly grew more intense. Kris, known for her crisis management instincts, allegedly called an emergency strategy meeting. "We need control," she reported said. Not defense, control. Her focus was not on debating internet rumors, but on managing perception. Perception in celebrity culture can be as powerful as truth. Kim, according to insiders, was visibly frustrated. "I have worked too hard to be dragged into something that has nothing to do with me," she allegedly told close friends. The emotional weight was not just about headlines. It was about legacy, about business partnerships, about the billion-dollar empire tied to her name. Fans were divided, and the family was left divided too. Some believed addressing the speculation head-on would shut it down. Others feared responding would only give it oxygen. That internal disagreement created a tense atmosphere behind closed doors. Meanwhile, commentators began bringing Kanye into the discussion, not because he had spoken directly on this filing, but because of his history of public disputes with the family. Old interviews resurfaced, where he hinted at hidden industry systems and powerful networks. People started connecting dots that may not even belong on the same page. And once that kind of narrative begins, it gains its own momentum. This is what happens when silence meets suspicion, one entertainment analyst said during a live stream. Even if there is nothing there, the imagination fills in gaps. As days passed, the noise did not fade, it grew louder. Reaction videos multiplied, fan accounts dissected body language from past events. Even neutral observers admitted the situation felt different from typical celebrity gossip. It was not just about scandal, it was about association with a name that carries heavy cultural weight. Through it all, 50 Cent remained calm. That calmness unsettled some people. "Why does he look so sure?" one fan posted. Another replied, "Maybe he's just enjoying the chaos." But here is where the story takes a deeper emotional turn. According to someone close to the family, the real fear was not legal consequences, it was reputational fallout. "Even if there's nothing," the insider allegedly said, "once people hear your name next to that case, it sticks." And that is the reality of modern fame. Headlines travel faster than clarification. Reactions move quicker than investigations. And when someone like 50 Cent reacts in a way that feels intentional, the narrative shifts from rumor to spectacle. By the end of that first wave of online frenzy, one thing was clear. This was no longer just a filing. It had become a public drama, a social media trial without a courtroom, a battle of perception rather than proof. And as the family debated strategy behind closed doors, the internet waited for the next move, convinced that this silence was not the end of the story, but the moment right before something bigger unfolded. And as the family debated strategy behind closed doors, the internet waited for the next move, convinced that this silence was not the end of the story, but the moment right before something bigger unfolded. That tension hung in the air like static before lightning. Nobody knew what would happen next, but everyone was refreshing their feeds like something explosive was seconds away from dropping. Inside one of those quiet strategy meetings, voices reportedly started rising. Kris was said to be pacing, phone in hand, calling advisors, publicists, and legal consultants back to back. "We don't react emotionally," she allegedly reminded the room. "We respond strategically." But not everyone agreed with that approach. One source claims Khloe was the first to push back. "Why are we acting like this is normal gossip?" she allegedly said. "This isn't about fashion rumors. This is serious." Emotions ran high as the weight of the situation began to sink in, not because of confirmed wrongdoing, but because of the optics. The association alone was enough to rattle even the most media-trained family. Meanwhile, fans were doing what fans do best, digging. Clips from old parties resurfaced.
Red carpet appearances from years ago were suddenly being replayed in slow motion. Every handshake, every photograph, every background face was examined, as if it held a hidden message. It did not matter whether those connections meant anything. In the court of public opinion, coincidence can feel like confirmation. Then came another twist. A well-known blogger posted a breakdown of the filing language, emphasizing that it was a complaint and not a conviction. That detail should have calmed things
down. Instead, it split the audience further. Some argued that the entire narrative was being blown out of proportion. Others insisted that where there is smoke, there must be something. And right in the middle of that chaos, 50 Cent dropped another post. This time it was a simple image with a caption that read, "Truth doesn't panic." Fans were shocked. Was he implying someone was panicking? Was it random? Was it directed? Once again, no names, no direct accusations, just a line that felt loaded. Inside the family circle, that caption reportedly caused frustration. "He knows what he's doing," one insider claimed Kim said privately. "He understands how to stir things without saying anything specific." And that was the part that made it difficult to counter. You cannot respond to something that has not technically accused you of anything. At the same time, business partners began quietly calling for reassurance. Executives tied to major brand deals wanted to know if there was any risk of escalation. "We just need clarity," one corporate representative reportedly told a team member. The pressure was not coming from law enforcement or official agencies. It was coming from perception management. Kim's close friends say she was hurt more than angry. "I have worked in reform, in legal advocacy, in building something legitimate," she allegedly confided. "And now my name trends next to something like this?" For someone whose brand revolves around reinvention and influence, the sting of association felt deeply personal. But the drama did not stop there. Fans started dragging Kanye's name back into the narrative. Old interviews where he spoke about powerful circles resurfaced again. Commentators debated whether his past statements hinted at anything related to the current situation. Some argued he would speak out soon. Others believed he would stay silent to protect his children from further chaos. Family tension reportedly escalated when the idea of a public statement was raised again. "If we say nothing, it looks suspicious," one voice argued. "If we say something, we validate the story," another counter. The room was divided. And when the family is divided, that energy inevitably leaks into public appearances. Sure enough, during a recent public event, fans claimed Kim looked tense. Body language experts online dissected every movement. Was she uncomfortable? Was she distracted? Was she simply tired? The internet turned ordinary gestures into evidence of hidden stress. Through it all, one question kept resurfacing. Why did 50 Cent react at all? He was not directly named in any filing. He was not legally connected. Yet his involvement amplified the story to a level that typical gossip pages could never reach. Some insiders believe he simply thrives on cultural flashpoints. Others think he genuinely believes in calling out anything that feels suspicious to him. "This is not personal," one entertainment analyst speculated during a live stream. "This is about narrative control. Whoever controls the story controls the public perception." And perception was shifting by the hour. Fans were shocked at how quickly a filing turned into a trending spectacle. Some defended the family passionately. Others insisted that transparency was the only way forward. Comment sections became battlegrounds, with heated arguments erupting under nearly every post. Inside the Kardashian inner circle, trust reportedly became fragile. "Who is talking to bloggers?" one family member allegedly demanded during a tense conversation. Paranoia can grow fast when reputations are on the line. Even minor leaks feel magnified. Kris, according to sources, eventually leaned into her usual strategy: wait for the cycle to burn out. "Internet storms move fast," she allegedly said. "They rarely last." But this storm felt different because of the name involved. Epstein is not just another trending topic. It carries emotional weight, historical controversy, and cultural sensitivity. At the same time, legal analysts publicly emphasize that being mentioned in a filing does not equate to guilt. That distinction, however, rarely trends as loudly as speculation. Nuance struggles to compete with drama. As night fell on another day of nonstop headlines, the atmosphere remained thick with uncertainty. Fans refreshed timelines, reaction channels prepared live streams, insiders whispered about strategy shifts, and 50 Cent, calm as ever, posted a short clip of himself laughing with no caption at all. The laughter sent shockwaves through comment sections. "He knows something," one user wrote. "He's just trolling," another replied. The truth was impossible to confirm, but the emotional intensity was undeniable. And behind closed doors, the family was left divided between fear of escalation and confidence that this would fade like so many other controversies before it. What nobody could deny was that the association had already taken on a life of its own. And once a narrative begins living independently of facts, controlling it becomes nearly impossible. And once a narrative begins living independently of facts, controlling it becomes nearly impossible. That was the realization slowly settling over everyone involved. The story was no longer about what was written in a filing. It was about how millions of people were interpreting it in real time. By the third day of non-stop chatter, the atmosphere around the family reportedly felt heavy. Phones were buzzing constantly. Advisors were sending updates every hour. Media outlets were requesting statements. Even friends outside the industry were texting to ask what was really going on. One insider claims Kim finally broke her silence in a private gathering with close family members. "This is exhausting," she allegedly said, her voice sharper than usual. "I am not going to let internet furies rewrite my life." Emotions ran high as the family debated whether the situation required a direct response or a calculated wait-and-watch approach. Chloe, always more vocal, reportedly leaned forward and said, "If we don't say something, people will create their own version." But Chris, composed as ever, responded firmly, "People already have their own version. Our job is to protect the brand." Protecting the brand. Those 3 words echoed in the room like a mission statement, because this was bigger than one headline. It was about business deals, partnerships, endorsements, streaming contracts. The family empire was built on perception, and perception was now under stress. Outside that room, fans were dissecting every second of 50 Cent's online activity. When he posted a photo from a studio session with a caption that read, "Some truths age well," speculation exploded again. Was it about music? Was it about this situation? No one knew, but fans were shocked at how each vague post kept the energy alive. Reaction channels started bringing in so-called body language experts, legal commentators, even former publicists. Everyone had an opinion. One analyst said, "This is a classic case of narrative collision. 2 powerful names trending together automatically creates heat." Another argued that silence often signals strategy, not guilt. Meanwhile, a rumor surfaced that a major brand partner had requested a private briefing from the Kardashian team. The rumor was never confirmed, but it spread fast. And in celebrity culture, perception of corporate concern can trigger more concern than the original story. Inside the family circle, frustration reportedly started turning into tension between siblings. "We can't keep pretending this is just noise," one voice allegedly said during a late-night call. "It's affecting how people see us." Another sibling reportedly replied, "We have survived worse. This will pass too." But something about the association felt different, not because of confirmed evidence, but because of the emotional weight attached to the Epstein name. It is not a casual headline. It is a loaded reference that carries years of controversy and unresolved questions. Even being loosely mentioned in that context can spark intense reaction. Then came another twist. A well-known entertainment journalist published an opinion piece questioning why celebrities often become collateral damage in broader legal narratives. The article did not accuse anyone. It focused on the culture of speculation. Still, fans interpreted it as indirect defense of the family. Debates intensified. And just when the conversation seemed to slow slightly, 50 Cent went live for a few minutes. He did not mention the Kardashians directly. He spoke generally about how the industry hides things in plain sight. That single sentence was enough to reignite everything. Comment sections exploded. He's talking about them. He's exposing the system. He's just chasing views. Every perspective clashed at once. Emotions ran high again, and the family was left divided between anger and disbelief. According to someone close to the situation, Kim felt personally targeted by the tone of online reactions. "It's like people want a villain," she allegedly confided. "They don't even care about facts." The weight of being a public figure in a digital age where headlines move faster than clarifications reportedly began to show in her demeanor. At a recent public appearance, fans claimed her smile looked forced. Others insisted she appeared unbothered. Body language breakdowns flooded video platforms. Even the way she adjusted her hair became a topic of analysis. This is the reality of fame at this level. Every gesture becomes content. Behind closed doors, legal advisors reportedly reassured the family that a mention in a complaint does not equate to legal exposure without proof. That reassurance helped, but it did not erase the reputational ripple effect. Perception, once shaken, can take time to stabilize. At the same time, some fans began defending the family more aggressively. hashtags supporting Kim started trending in certain circles. Supporters argued that being associated with controversy does not mean involvement. They pointed out the lack of official charges or confirmed evidence. Still, the divide remained clear. For every supporter, there was a skeptic. For every defense, there was a theory. The family was left navigating a landscape where silence could be misread and speech could be misinterpreted. And through it all, 50 Cent maintained that calm, almost amused posture online. That calmness continued to unsettle critics and intrigue supporters alike. Was he simply reacting to headlines like everyone else, or was he intentionally keeping the spotlight on the association? One thing became undeniable. This was no longer a simple trending topic. It had evolved into a cultural spectacle about influence, power, and perception. The narrative had layers now. Legal nuance on one side, emotional reaction on the other, business stakes hovering above it all. As another day closed with no official statement from the family, the internet buzz did not disappear. It simmered, quietly, steadily, waiting for either confirmation, denial, or distraction to redirect the spotlight. And inside that carefully guarded inner circle, the question remained unresolved. Do you confront a narrative head-on and risk amplifying it? Or do you let it burn out and trust that your empire is strong enough to withstand another storm? And inside that carefully guarded inner circle, the question remained unresolved. Do you confront a narrative head-on and risk amplifying it? Or do you let it burn out and trust that your empire is strong enough to withstand another storm? That tension did not disappear overnight. It evolved. It shifted. It became quieter on the surface, but heavier behind the scenes. By the fourth day, something subtle changed. The headlines were still there. The reaction videos were still climbing in views, but the family's public routine resumed. New product promotions went live. Scheduled appearances continued. Photos were posted with carefully curated captions that made no reference to the controversy. It was a message without words. Business goes on. But fans were not ready to move on that easily. Comment sections under unrelated posts were filled with questions. Some were supportive. Some were accusatory. Others were simply confused. Fans were shocked at how quickly entertainment gossip had turned into something that felt almost political in tone. Inside the family circle, sources say the emotional fatigue was real. Kim reportedly told a close friend, "I can handle criticism. I cannot handle narratives built on imagination." That frustration was less about 50 Cent and more about the digital environment that turns association into assumption. Chris, ever the strategist, allegedly shifted focus toward long-term image stability. "We cannot chase every rumor," she reportedly said during another meeting. "We outlast them." It was a philosophy that had worked before. Scandals had come and gone over the years. The brand had survived. Yet this time, the involvement of 50 Cent added a different dimension. He is not a random commentator. He carries influence. When he reacts, people listen. Even his silence after those initial posts became part of the story. Some fans argued that his lack of follow-up meant he had said everything he needed to say. Others believed he simply moved on to the next cultural flashpoint. In private circles, speculation about his motives continued. Was this personal? Was it strategic? Or was it simply commentary amplified beyond expectation? No one could answer definitively, and that ambiguity kept the narrative alive. Meanwhile, legal analysts continued reminding audiences that a filing is not a verdict. Being mentioned in a complaint does not equal wrongdoing, but those reminders rarely trend as loudly as dramatic headlines. Nuance struggles to compete with spectacle. As the week unfolded, some media outlets began shifting their framing. Instead of focusing on the filing itself, they examined the culture of reaction. Think pieces explored how quickly social media can turn rumor into perceived reality. Commentators questioned whether celebrity names are often pulled into broader narratives simply because they generate clicks. Inside the family, unity reportedly began to return. Heated disagreements softened into shared resolve. "We cannot let this divide us," one sibling allegedly said during a private dinner. The family was left divided at first, but pressure often forces alignment. Protecting the collective became the priority. Kim, according to an insider, reached a quiet conclusion. She would not address the rumor directly. Instead, she would let her work speak. Legal advocacy projects were highlighted more prominently. Philanthropic initiatives were emphasized. The strategy was subtle but intentional. And then something interesting happened. The online volume slowly began to dip. Not vanish, but soften. Another celebrity headline surfaced elsewhere. Another viral clip captured public attention. The internet, as it always does, moved to the next spectacle. That shift did not erase the past week. It did not undo the stress, but it changed the temperature. What once felt like a roaring storm became a background hum. Through it all, 50 Cent never issued a clarification or escalation. His initial reactions remained frozen in time, interpreted differently by every viewer. Some still insisted he was hinting at something deeper. Others concluded he was simply reacting to headlines like everyone else. The truth remained the same as it was on day one. A filing had been mentioned. Names circulated online. No official charges were announced. No verified evidence was presented publicly connecting the family to any crime. What exploded was not proof, but perception. And that may be the most powerful twist of all. In today's culture, perception can feel as real as fact. Headlines can carry emotional weight, even without legal confirmation. Association alone can spark division. Inside that inner circle, lessons were learned about speed, about silence, about how quickly narratives form. The family was left divided at first, then unified by necessity. Emotions ran high, cooled down, and settled into cautious awareness. What began as a trending headline evolved into a cultural case study about fame in the digital era, about how a single reaction from a powerful voice can amplify speculation, about how silence can be interpreted in multiple ways, about how fans are shocked not only by information, but by the intensity of their own reactions. As the noise faded into the background of the ever-turning media cycle, one thing remained unresolved. Not a legal question, not a confirmed accusation, but a broader question about influence and responsibility. When you react publicly to a sensitive headline, do you amplify awareness or ignite chaos? And when your name trends beside controversy, do you fight the narrative or let time dissolve it? For now, the family continues forward. The brands remain active, appearances continue. 50 Cent moves on to new posts, new topics, new conversations. And the internet waits, as it always does, for the next spark that will light up timelines again. Because in this world of constant connection, the storm is never truly over. It simply moves elsewhere. So here is where things stand. A filing surfaced. Names began circulating online. 50 Cent reacted in a way that many fans felt was loaded with meaning. The Kardashian camp chose silence over confrontation. And within days, the internet turned speculation into spectacle. No official charges were announced. No confirmed evidence was publicly presented. Yet emotions ran high, fans were shocked, and the family was left divided before eventually regrouping behind the scenes. What really exploded was not proof, but perception. And in today's world, perception can shape headlines faster than facts ever could. So now the question shifts to you. Do you think 50 Cent's reaction was just commentary amplified by social media? Or do you believe his tone suggested something deeper? Was the family silence a smart strategy? Or did it fuel the narrative even more? And in an era where association alone can spark division, how should public figures respond when their names trend beside controversy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is far from one-sided. Your perspective matters. The internet may move fast, but discussions like this deserve nuance and real opinions. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure you like the video so more people can join the conversation. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into celebrity drama, cultural flashpoints, and the stories behind the headlines. And turn on notifications so you do not miss the next time a single reaction changes the entire narrative. Because in this space, we do not just follow headlines, we unpack them.